Alright, we're doing multiplying fractions. If you look at 7e16, 8/9 times 1/4. When you multiply fractions, you do multiply straight across, but before you multiply straight across, always look to see if you can cancel or reduce in the problem. You can cancel from numerator to denominator, okay? So we're basically reducing in the problem so we don't have to reduce at the end. If you don't reduce in the problem, you have to reduce at the end. So we can only cancel from numerator to denominator. So here, 1/9, we can't reduce that any, but we can reduce 8 and 4. We can divide them both by 4. So if we divide this by 4, it becomes a 1. Dividing that by 4, it becomes a 2. So basically we have reduced it in the problem. Now you can multiply straight across. 2 times 1 is 2. 9 times 1 is 9. And so 2/9. If you reduce in the problem, you shouldn't have to reduce at the end. Look at 7F number 16. 4/6 times 1/10. 1 and 6, can't reduce that anymore, but 4 and 10. I can reduce them both by 2. So doing 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2, that becomes a 5. Okay, now you just multiply straight across. 2 times 1 is 2. 6 times 5, 30. And I can reduce again. Turns out I could have reduced 2 and 6 right here. So I could have reduced from numerator to denominator right here, and because I didn't reduce right here, then I can still reduce at the end. Okay, so I'll go back and work this again, but I can reduce here. So if I can divide them both by 2. 2 divided by 2, 1. 30 divided by 2, 15. 1/15. I'm going to rewrite this here. If this was 2 and 6 times 1/5, then I could have reduced 2 and 6, because I can only do it from numerator to denominator. So I can reduce both of these by 2. 2 divided by 2, 1. 6 divided by 2, 3. Now when you multiply straight across, then you will get 1 times 1, 1. 3 times 5, 15. You get the same answer. So if you don't reduce all the way in the problem, you just have to reduce at the end. Okay, now looking at 7F number 19. In these word problems, I'm going to give you some tips of things to watch for, the words to help you. George worked harder than his friend and earned 4/5 of the pay for the job. If the boss gives him 1/2 of his share today, what part of the total pay does he get today? What part? When you see the word part, what part, that's a tip that you're going to have a fraction. What part? Meaning you're only getting part of it, which is a fraction of it. Okay? The other words to look for to know what operation, because this is, do you multiply, do you add, do you divide, do you subtract? So here, he earned 4/5 of the money. So he earned 4/5. Then what did his boss give him? His boss gave him 1/5 of his share. So he got, 1/2. So he got 1/2 of the 4/5 that he got. He earned 4/5, and he only got 1/2 of the 4/5. Well, what does of mean in math? Of means to multiply. So if you watch for these keywords of 1/2 of, that will help you. And if you can write it out with 1/2 of 4/5, then now you know to multiply. So basically you have 1/2 times 4/5. Look to see if you can reduce in the problem. I can reduce 4 and 2 from numerator to denominator. I can divide them both by 2, so that becomes a 1, and this becomes a 2. Now you just multiply straight across. 1 times 2, 2. 1 times 5, 5. So he got what part of the total pay? He got 2/5 of the pay. Don't forget, when you have a word problem, put words at the end so you know what this answer represents.